Hi guys, welcome to another online art lesson. So today we're going to look at a bit more detail into this idea of silhouettes. By now we know that Barrett loves to use silhouettes, particularly being inspired by the intricate paper cuttings of Sharon Schnitt of the German style. This wasn't the only style. I mentioned briefly before that the Chinese kind of invented paper cutting as they invented a lot of things such as paper. But especially in Europe and in England, a different type of paper cutting was very popular, especially in Victorian times. In the mid-18th century, going into the 19th century, silhouette portraitures were incredibly popular. Now we know by now a silhouette is a solid shape in which the edges have details to define the object they're representing. And I'm sure this style of portraiture will be familiar to most of you. I imagine you would have seen some kind of iteration or reference to this kind of style, especially looking at mid-18th to 19th century. My first exposure to this was in the Disney parks, where in Main Street, which is the first land when you enter, it pays you an homage to the turn of the century and older technologies, and they frequently have a cart with a person doing paper cuttings for you. Now the reason that these paper cutting portraits were so popular is that they were quick, they were cheap, but they were really effective styles of portraiture. They typically pictured an individual's bust. A bust would be the chest, shoulders, and the face of a person. The artists could complete these works in as little as 3 minutes. So they were very popular in marketplaces and the street vendors, advertising quick, cheap portraits for the everyday family in under 3 minutes, which is, I cannot imagine doing something like this in under 3 minutes. They were typically cut from lightweight black card and displayed on a pale, typically white background, which this contrast between the black and the white makes it stand out very well. Now this silhouette style of portraiture continues to be popular to this day, utilised by artists such as Barrett that we have seen, as well as other artists such as Kara Walker, who typically write art form and kind of manipulates it into discussing African American context. It's also very popular in photography. It's used in graphic design, and you will have seen it every day in street signs. And it's been used in such films such as Harry Potter, with the Tale of the Three Brothers sequence, and it was very popular in animation, famously in Lottie Renger's The Adventures of Prince Ahmed. So this takes me on to our task today. Last 2 lessons you picked an illustrator or illustrators who have studied or depicted your own fairy tales. Now my fairy tale is Snow White, and I chose the artist Gustav Tenggren. I was exposed to Tenggren's work through my love of Disney history and through my research into the company. He was born in 1869 in Sweden and moved to the United States at the age of 26. Now in 1945 he accepted a position as art director for Disney's first full-length feature, Snow White, my fairy tale. And his visions and his sketches and his art style was very influential on this film, and he directed and motivated and inspired story artists towards a particular mood and visual style for the film. And I was very interested in his depiction of Snow White with the short curly hair and the billowy short sleeves. And the queen that he depicts before she's transformed into an old witch is very straight and angular and quite masculine. And then as a witch, she's very bulbous and she's got lots of curves and warts and she's very grotesque, and I really like this style. So, focusing on what your task for today is, you're going to pick 2 of your characters. You're going to pick the protagonist and the antagonist. So the protagonist in my story is Snow White. She is the main character. The antagonist, the villain in my story, is the evil queen. So you may pick a story such as Jack and the Beanstalk. Your protagonist is going to be Jack. Your antagonist is going to be the giant. Give me another one. Big Bad Wolf. So your protagonist will be Little Red Riding Hood. Your antagonist will be the Big Bad Wolf. And what you're going to do is create 2 busts for each of these 2 characters. So you're going to have 4 drawings in total. And these busts will be silhouettes. So here is mine. So what I've done is my protagonist, Snow White, I want you to do a profile view, so a profile is from the side, and I want you to do a face-on view, silhouettes of your characters. And then your antagonist, same thing, side-on view of, in my case, the evil witch, and a side-on, and then a face-on view of the evil witch. Now, my face-on view of the evil witch, I found it really difficult to get like individual features and a real character. So what I did as well, because I wasn't happy with this, was another study of the side-on view, but her before she transformed. So, in short, your tasks: 4 drawings, 2 of your protagonist, 2 of your antagonist. They must be silhouette busts. 1 profile, 1 face on. Think about the features that you want to describe in these outlines. Think about what details you can add in or emphasize in order to get this real character across. So for example, for Snow White, I found her hair being the main feature that I wanted to emphasize with the bow and the curls, and also the poofiness of the sleeves, give a bit more curves and a bit more grace. For the and then for the evil queen, the warts on the nose, the one tooth sticking up, and then in the one before she turns into an old hag, I found the crown and her big neck piece, things I could really distinguish her character and her personality. That's going to be the challenge. How do you get the personality and the character across in a silhouette? And that's your task for today. As usual, please upload your work onto Teams, and I hope you enjoy the beautiful weather we are having. See you again soon. Bye guys. So, 2 studies of your protagonist. 1 profile, 1 face on. 2 studies of your antagonist. 1 profile, 1 straight on. All of these studies will be silhouettes.